Thank you for joining the Visionary Voices Tech. Today, the subject will be on AI, robotics, and the future of smart manufacturing. I'm Michele Rossi, Industrial Automation Industry Director at the Qt Group. And here with me today, we're going to have a great panelist of experts, starting from Daniele Bernardini, CEO Cognivix, Przemysław Krzywania, HMI Director at Spyrosoft, Hackbarth Kai, Head of Product and Solution at Bosch Global Digital Solutions, Tommi Mänttäri, Senior Manager R&D Group. And we're going to start asking the question to Kai. Where do you see the industrial automation go?
All right. Yeah. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this session here. So, I think what we see happening is, especially in terms of automation and robotics, and also AI, is having a big impact, right? So we see that we are moving away from closed proprietary solutions to open ecosystems that are also adaptable to the changing requirements, right? So we see there are a lot of cases, let's call out Catena X, for example, for the automotive industry, for the supply chain, to say it like this. But we also see that AI is advancing big time in automation, but also for maintenance, for reducing energy, water, gas consumption, overall CO2 consumption. So many more, let's say, use cases are now possible, right? And that's sort of where I see things are currently heading.
And how do you relate to this, Daniela?
So I think that AI is bringing a new opportunity to automation. I totally agree with Kai on this. It's going to bring to empower automation in places where it hasn't been before, and robotics was able to translate a software program into action. AI is able to take that software program and adapt it to a changing environment, to a changing product. To adapt to certain requirements of the market that until now were only possible with manual labor. I think this is a huge leap forward for the possibility, for the potential of automation, which is still, while it's a great market and a great economy, it's still very small inroad into what is the global production of manufacturing.
So this is a really interesting feedback. A question for Tommy. Considering the changing environment, which are the challenges that industrial players are facing when it comes to deploying this solution?
Yeah, I think it is the use of AI in wider context than before. It has been mainly like object recognition so far in the past, but now with this generative AI solutions, the human-computer or human-robot interaction has changed drastically, and it's about human-robot cooperation with cobots. It's about vision AI for robotics and manufacturing purposes. So it is a big shift in the AI technology that is now chasing the whole landscape.
And what about Cemeke? What is your take on this?
So from my perspective, so actually my director, AI is very useful for us because we're using both for speed up the development process with keeping high quality. And we use AI on many ways, not only to develop the software, but also to adapt how the HMI looks for the operators. We adapt it thanks to AI.
And generally, Daniela, do you see industrial AI trend also impacting the interaction between human and machine?
Absolutely. The one thing that we are pioneering, for example, in my startup is how to change the way we program robots in manufacturing. And so far, this involves a certain level of knowledge in terms of programming languages or a software interface that you have to understand. The ideal goal that we are trying to achieve is to bring this bar lower to the level where an operator can show to a robot what is meant to accomplish, and the robot can then replicate it. Now, this is a holy grail we're looking at, but of course the road is long and it will take several years. Generally, there are many tools that now we have that we can use towards this goal. The first one that Tommi was mentioning is generative AI. I mean, LLM chatbots, what we all use in our private lives as well. This can be excellent conversational interface where an operator can actually describe with his own words what it's trying to achieve, and at the same time, this LLM can be able to translate this conversation into a set of actionable operation, into a program, basically. So, on the other hand, you have a whole set of new research findings in computer vision since the last 12 years, in 2012, basically, with the rise of AlexNet and the new computer vision technologies that now are able to track parts and operations in very peculiar and particular way, so that we can compose the vocal interface with the visual understanding and generate programs on the fly. And this, I think, it's a great change into how we will interact with the robots tomorrow as compared to today.
I think that multimodal UI is my personal opinion, is the sound of the future, and the future of factories interface combines multiple ways to interact. For example, in the noisy environments, you can use camera systems to recognize hand gestures, which allows operator to control the machines without touching them. For example, for small things, but of course, it's also always worth to have backup options. For example, if voice command doesn't work because of noise, the system should automatically switch to gesture recognition or traditional touchscreen or controls. And this flexibility keeps production running smoothly in different factory conditions.
So if I may add just a thought to this, because I was just at Hannover Messe last week, right? And so we were showing a demo with an industrial tightening tool that is used in the automotive or aerospace production. And so, I mean, typically, let's say you would use like a dashboard, right? So that shows you the graph of how, let's say, the tightening process is, whether it is okay or not okay, right? But depending on, let's say, your role, right? So, I mean, you would have to still understand what does it mean, right? And what I really started liking about Gen AI use cases or in this specific case is we just asked a question, give me, this specific data, right? And you will just get it. You don't need to understand, or to find it in the dashboard, right? So basically what I want to second with this is that I also believe this multimodal user interfaces is the way to go, depending on the role, right? So because you have use cases that are relevant for maintenance, you have use cases that are relevant for quality management, and so on. And everybody, just needs like a bit, of the information to call it, let's say, right? So.
Question for Tommi. Considering the changing environment, which are the challenges that industrial players are facing when it comes to deploying?
Well, the AI has gone so fast nowadays. Everybody's lacking the knowledge, basically. There's more knowledge coming every day, more and more, and people don't get enough time to cope with all the new stuff that is emerging. So, and there's there's also no standards, or they're coming, but it means that there's a lot of fragmentation because of that. You have different AI frameworks popping up now and then. Different AI models are popping up every week as we speak. Then in the edge AI especially, because the vendors need to optimize the AI models very well, very tightly so that they give the best performance as possible. And it means that they have their like vendor-specific AI frameworks, which makes the fragmentation even bigger. Then there is no solutions nowadays to combine these different AI solutions together. So every solution has their own APIs, their own frameworks that are in use. So it is really hard to make a application that uses more than one AI model. You need to integrate the whole all these AI models into the application itself, or you need to create external like a AI pipeline that someone AI expert is building for you for your company, and then you integrate the application to that AI pipeline with the proprietary APIs and all that is use case specific and vendor specific, and it's hard to maintain. Hard to modify anything. It's like written in stone. So it's there's a lot these kind of problems. It is hard to utilize the AI for this kind of multimodal use cases to combine with the application UI, with the application logic, and the behavior of the application. So these kind of problems there is today.
The thing that AI is for now is very unnatural market, and in future it will be more and more demands from industrial sector. There for sure will be some kind of consolidation of companies, and there will be one AI to generate all. And Bosch may do something like this.
Okay, do you want to say anything?
I mean, I hope so that, let's say, there will be, standards that helps us to deal with this, right? So, and I'm sure Bosch will be part of, of this, let's say, transitioning, right? So, I mean, like you just said, Tommy, right? So we have all the, let's say, advantages and disadvantages, right? So, and I personally believe in like this small language models, as we would call them now, to rather use them at the edge and very, let's say, specialized and optimized, to call it like this, rather than large language models where, that run in the cloud, where I also honestly believe these large language models will die over time, because it will have the same problem like all the, let's say, IoT cloud platforms in the past. They're built for let's say, a scale that doesn't come, and there's huge cost behind it, right? So at some point, yeah, I don't see them, to be as big, let's call it this way, as they are maybe today, right? So it's at least my personal opinion on this.
I think there's place for both, for LLMs, maybe not as in as big scale as you mentioned now, but for example, for specific people have untrained operator on machines, so he can just ask by voice where I find option number A, option number B, and then this small LLM on the device can show him the options. But each then the small LLM that they will be connected to some kind of cloud. But as you mentioned, the Edge AI is crucial for manufacturing companies where there is no internet connection, when there is data security risk, data breach risks, etc. And then this is also a good solution for industrial solutions.
And Daniele, how's your company dealing with this?
So we are not yet integrating LLM into our solutions. We are focusing on the computer vision part, which is more solid and ready for the industry. Where we're talking about bringing it in the factory, right? It's different if you deliver technology to an office, or when you put it into a machine that moves, and that is safety concerns, security concerns, and so on. So we've been cautious on this. Definitely, we're seeing a movement in general in the AI towards an ensemble of experts instead of a huge monolithic AI. So it would make sense to have smaller models that can be deployed on the edge, which is already quite feasible if you consider the size of Llama 4 last models that came out, and what a concurrent edge computer that it's totally deployable in a factory can do. So this is something that is reality. I believe there will be a lot of surprises that we cannot even predict right now in the next 2 or 3 years. I think the technology is evolving so fast that it's really hard to predict where it will go in 1 year, let alone in three, right? But it definitely is something that the industry will have to adapt and will have to also integrate into their own offering.
So really, Tommy.
Yeah, I really agree that it's not only about these large language models, it's also about like zero-shot models, not to need to train them. Yeah, just use it. Text-to-speech, just human-computer or human-robot interaction. But maybe in the future, near future, we will be able to use also these larger language models to add this kind of human-like understanding for robotics. I think most likely first, so that we don't need to code any use cases to the robots like traditional way, but that the language model will, so to speak, write the code on the fly and understand that if there is a need and it sees this with visual cameras, it sees that there is something there that can solve that problem. It can then combine the problem with the solution and propose that to the user or to the use it in the process. So, but yeah, the best edge computers nowadays, they can run like 70 billion parameter models, but it's not capable of running 700 billion parameter models. Yes.
Yes, but I think you can't forget that AI is not only the LLMs. There are also many other solutions, and AI is, from my perspective, is mainly designed to support human and to deliver something, not only the code. For example, we build the systems that adapts to which controls users or operators are using most on specific tasks, and then bring it for them automatically. So thanks to this, it's easy for them to make some changes and to operate there.
So because the factories are becoming more modular and they are adjusting during time, how do you say, Daniele, the impact of robot and AI combined toward this trend?
So, in general, let me take a step back. I mean, we've been talking about AI now in a general sense of perception and understanding, if you want, semantic understanding. But I think there is a new frontier in AI that is very relevant for this discussion, which is what we usually call physical AI or embodied AI. And this is a frontier research at the moment. It's not something that is ready for deployment. There's tons of papers on these topics in the scientific community, and it's evolving fast, but it's not quite there yet. Though, if you're thinking about the factories are in large part not designed for robots; they are designed for humans. And there are then factories which are not really factories at all. Like if you are in shipbuilding or in aerospace, you have to enter the construction of the ship to actually operate. So you will have to navigate a human-centric environment, what you call human-centric environment. So, which is full of obstacles, cables that are not supposed to be there, tools that have been left somewhere in the middle of the room. Maybe the light is failing. Maybe there is water. There is a lot of reasons why a human is very able to do this and a robot is not at the moment. And I think this is something that it will take us a few years yet to go there. But I think this is where AI and robotics will actually show its best, effect. And this applies then again to a lot of other environments, not only in the factory, but also in maintenance. in outdoor maintenance in particular, or in dangerous situations where you have to perform maintenance, for example, to a nuclear plant in a crisis, or to in case of fire, or in case of other, or underwater, or in space. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities out there that require this again, frontier research that we are doing now on embodied and physical AI. So I think this is where we're at.
Kai, how do you?
I mean, to be honest, right? So I like what Daniele just explained, right? So, and I mean, Bosch is, let's say, not into, let's say, that deep into robotics, to call it like this, right? But I mean, just think of autonomous cars, right? So, which is also, a few years in the future, to call it like this, right? So, the same applies, right? So, I mean, you will have AI in the car, right? And you will have cars, that will drive autonomously. Already do today, like in San Francisco and some other cities, right? So, I think it's, from a technology point of view, we may be even closer than we think we are. There are a lot of, like, I would say, legal security related issues that prevent us from rolling it out big time, to call it like this, right? So, I mean, there may be still, some more work to be done, right? But I think, in technical terms, we can do it today, and this will come, right? And I think we should also not be afraid of this, right? Because I mean, the thing is, right? So I remember, like, in German companies, the workers' council, get alarmed, for example, right? So by using AI, by introducing robots, or I don't know what, right? But I think, in the end, especially in Germany or Europe, if you want to be competitive, right, with, Asian, US companies, right, we have to go with it, right? So there is simply no choice, right? Whether we like.
Sorry, you wanted to add?
Yes, just want to just add that we have already a lot of AI in automotive business. All the sign recognition, etc. is AI, and I'm quite sure that even now we'll be able to have almost autonomous car if they will be ready for this legislation. But nowadays we have some moral issues, law issues, etc. What to do and how to solve them. In my opinion, it's bigger challenge than technical challenge, because it's just a matter of engineers to deliver it.
So Kai, maybe last question to you. You were talking about regulations. Do you see cybersecurity becoming relevant in this field?
I mean, cybersecurity, I would say, is probably one of the hottest topic at the moment, due to, I would say, different reasons, right? So, so the EU just, let's say, introduced not too long ago the Cyber Resilience Act, right? So, which will be effective, yeah, I think in about 2 years from now, if you want, right? And there is, I would say, a lot of things that we are not yet prepared for, to call it like this, from a let's say user's point of view, to call it like this, right? So because I mean, for one, we need communication from the shop floor, yeah, to, let's say, the company backend, or even data spaces like Catena X, right? So this needs to be secured, right? So OT security is playing, a big role, right? And like I said, I don't think many companies are prepared for what's to come. To say it like this, right? And then there are also, I would say, if we just talk about IoT related use cases, right? So, every device that we bring on the market as of now, right, basically needs to be able to do software updates, be it for security reasons, be it for introducing new features. So this is again another big thing for which companies need to start preparing, right? And so these are topics that we deal, I would say, currently on a daily basis, if you want, right? So these are topics that we have to deal with in the Bosch group, right? And we are also trying to help external customers, to basically benefit from our experiences and solutions around that.
Daniele, any comment?
So first of all, I'm not an expert in cybersecurity. I can only tell you from the perspective of somebody that is designing robotic solution. And my thoughts are always whenever you have something that is mobile and can exert a certain strength that can kill a person, and you let it loose in a factory, you have to be sure that is being programmed to standards and that is not breachable from the outside. This is a huge risk I mean, until the machine is sorry about this, until the machine is closed and in an environment where it cannot do any harm, it's a different story. But when this machine has legs and can actually walk around the factory, you have to be very careful with what you hook it up to, right? So I think this is something that should be in our mind whenever we design automation solutions for the future.
I think you need to look at it from a few perspectives. The first perspective is the physical perspective, like building cages, etc., for robots and machines. And the second perspective is, for example, also using the memory safe languages, like switching, for example, from C++ to Rust or other solution. And I think in future it also be a very big point.
Tommi, what's your take on this?
Well, I'm not an expert on that either, but um, well, I would be much safer if there would be no network connection to anywhere from the device, from the robot. So that I think that could be a good security. But unfortunately, I think many AI use cases will be such that you will utilize both the cloud and the edge, where it makes more sense. And so uh, so then there has to be the security things in place. But maybe we have to be more careful then on what we are actually doing in the cloud side and what we're doing in the edge side, and how anyone can connect to it.
Certainly, if possible, notice that even the community connected with roles, and this means the robot operating system is now based also focused not only on delivering new features of their operating systems, but they are also, for example, now adding test framework, etc., just to increase the quality and the security of their solutions.
Yeah, maybe also I think, I mean, from a technology point of view, right? So security is there's solutions there, right? So you can build secure, let's say OT environments and so on, right? So it's rather, that's where I would say, have lacked in the past, right? Designing it to be secure, right? From the beginning, right? So, and there's things that there has to be like, a shift in mentality to build solutions like this now, right? And now we have this legal framework, right? And also the AI Act, for example. So it's not only the Cyber Resilience Act. There's also the AI Act in the EU or in other countries, right? And also here, right? So there is, I would say, you can always argue, whether this is, how to say it, slowing down innovation, or if it is really helping, to build secure, resilient, reliable solutions, right? So I think it's in the end, like I said, it's a mentality shift that needs to happen and will happen, hopefully.
So we reach the end of our conversation. I wanted to thank you all for these great insights, and thank you to all the audience for listening to our chat. Wish you all a great rest of your